Namaskar and welcome to this exciting new episode of Sattology Debunking Mythology. As usual, all our discussions are centered around history and telling the right history. You can also watch me on the Radio Naira every day at 7 p.m. EST and 4 p.m. PST, where I'm talking about debunking mythology. It's a national radio on 101.9 FM and 99.9 FM and 1040 AM at 4 p.m. PS. You can watch me every day. Now, uh, in today's topic, we are going to talk about the real Bharatiya history or Indian history, which has not been told to the Western audience ever. And and the joke is it's not being told to the Indians either. So it's both sides we are lacking. So it's all new. Why it is not told? My focus is always on 8 to 18 because that's where we shape the young minds. So we have a very good friend of mine and a great scholar, teacher, and he's joining from India, and we're going to discuss that. And the reason somebody asked me why I bring Indians on this show, because I want to tell the history from an Indian perspective. Because so far, even the Indians read from the Western perspective. So if I bring the Westerners again, you'll still hear the same thing. So now this is the alternative view we are telling you. When we say debunking mythology, we have to hear the history of the natives. On one of my next show, we're having the king of the Navajo tribe speaking to us about the Native Americans. So without delay, let us welcome Sri Gopal Goswami. Namaskar.
Namaste, Aditi ji. Today I'm privileged that so many so important peoples are there. I don't know how I'm going to justify their presence, and I can give justice to this talk from my point of view, and how much I can deliver. I don't know. Please forgive me in advance if something less of expectation is delivered here, because I am also a learner.
Behind your right shoulder, I see the bow, and it gives me some symbol. What is the significance of the bow in the Indian culture? That's where we'll start with. I think nowadays we don't teach our children these things. On the right shoulder. Yes. Bow. There is a bow there. The archery bow. Small.
Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a Dhanush.
Dhanush. Yes. So what is the significance of that bow for you? And
bow is all about power, the guidance, the knowledge around us that guides the bow, the arrow, sorry.
And how is it connected to Indian culture? It's like the Bhagwan Ram carried the bow, and somehow these things we are not teaching our children. And I think most of the people do not know the Indian archery team is one of the best in the world.
Right.
It's one of the top 10 teams of the world in the archery.
Yes.
And
archery, all the players, all the participants are from the tribals.
Yes.
Tribal belts of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and some part of tribal part of our Gujarat and MP. So they have kept the tradition intact. They practice it there, and they practice it so accurately that they qualify. Limbaram, the famous one, Limbaram. He was a famous archer in the Olympics. He participated. Like many are there, and they mostly they belong to the tribal fraternity of India. They have mastery over this, and they have kept the tradition on.
Yeah, this is a great, I think, beginner to this show, and how, in fact, my kids in California, they are considered, my son won the state championship in archery. And so that's why it's a sport
wishing all the best for the future.
I follow a lot. So, the world knows, like if you go to Korea, if you go to Japan, they all give huge respect to India as the source of martial arts. But somehow the Hollywood movies only show judo, karate, or any of these, which are parts from Kalaripayattu. The Kalaripayattu is the complete martial art, which was banned by the British. Mahabharat was banned, Kalaripayattu was banned, and Bharatnatyam was banned. 3 arts were banned.
Yes.
So, today's topic is so interesting, 8 to 18, because we are not teaching these things to our young children. The pride of India. These are the pride of India. So what do you say about these arts, and how does it connect to the education today?
Actually, Aditi, what you said rightly right now, that we don't teach them anymore in India. Anymore, it's around 73 years, quarter to century, we are going to celebrate independence of India from the Britishers. And now it's a huge time past. We should stop blaming and rather we put all these things very easily to the Muslim invaders, the sultans of Delhi, the Britishers, that they have this thing, that thing. They destroyed our history. They have destroyed our culture. Enough of it. Actually, they were meant. They were there to rule us. They were there to loot us. So you cannot expect anything better for them to do. It was obvious. But the thing begins from where they left. In 1947, unfortunately, we could not find a single person among 40 crore people, that is around 400 million people, a single Hindu scholar to be education minister of India. That too, the man chosen for the education ministry was born and brought up in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. He never met a school. He was educated in a madrasa. He took only Arabic Islamic talim. So imagine, he was handed over the education ministry of independent India. He continued for next 10 years. And after that also, the first 4 education ministers of India were Muslims. So actually what happened, where the British are left, they did it to destroy us or to govern us for that matter. They did what they did to keep us busy fighting among us. They divided us into castes in 1905 census, when the term called Dalits. In the name of census, they started coining the lower caste, lower class as a Dalits. So they started dividing Hindus from that point of moment. Now, if today we examine the history after independence, then we must critically examine those decisions which are mostly or largely responsible for the condition of today's India or Bharat. If I say so, then I have to go back. I have to criticize Gandhiji, critically criticize Gandhiji. The moment I start criticizing him, for what reason I'm criticizing him, the history must be examined over the period of time, and it should be critically analyzed. The decision taken as those time might have been appropriate for that time period, but are those decisions are relevant anymore at this point of moment or not? So while we take a critical look upon our independence and history on decision taken around that independence, then we have to critically examine Gandhiji, Nehru. But the moment I start criticizing Gandhiji, I'm labeled as Godse Bhakt. Godse was not right. He killed Mahatma Gandhi. That was a heinous crime. Violence has no place in a civilized society. He met his fate. What he did, he was also hanged within a year of that incident. But the point he raised must be examined in the light of the consequences, repercussion of those decisions taken in that time. Now today, when we talk about history being taught in our educational system, our real history has no place. In fact, we are the only country which have outsourced history to some foreign ideological people, or who people those belong to some alien ideology. They are not compatible with Indian culture, or people from across the borders. Like Andre Tishke, she says she claims herself as to be a historian, and she keep glorifying Aurangzeb. If Arundhati Roy's book Azadi regarding Kashmir, if you go, then we have to one day that book will be included in history somewhere, some point of time, and because the book is being published right now, that will take some place in history, and that will be taught somewhere in the future, and it will make a part that will be seen as facts versus the real facts, the facts shown to the world and real fact. We have seen in the recent recently ongoing protest, farmer protest, where people from all over the world with the vested interest, with the ecosystem in place, are playing dirty games with poor Indian farmers. Today, that education, that might have been some valid points too, but that has been labeled as Khalistani propaganda, that has been labeled as jihadi propaganda, that has been labeled as left-wing communist propaganda, and people have reason to believe it, because the kind of slogans being uttered from there, shouted from there, the kind of statements are coming across from Canada, from US, from UK or Pakistan. They all are pointing them that the people sitting on the dharna, on agitation, are actually not farmers, and they don't have anything to do with the farmers. So this point, while New York Times writes article about this, when Rihanna tweets about this, so these things are being recorded in the print, in the visual media, and that will have a place in some archives, and it will be utilized against this culture, Hindus, India, in future also. So that propaganda is being done since ages. Now, what history we have been told that A.O. Hume has founded Indian National Congress in somewhere 1883 or 82 for the freedom struggle of India. Now, imagine which kind of people, even a insane can understand that a person who is being a civil servant, he's a collector of Azamgarh, he has founded a political organization called Indian National Congress, Indian Congress or Congress, which is supposed to get freedom to India, and he is on British payroll, remember. Can you imagine it? It is like, and we know what the facts are. The Congress was like a safety valve for the Britishers, because they have a lot of collateral damages in 1857, first independence war of India. Then they thought that they had few people, they have a few thousand people to rule, and they have to rule all around the world. So if they want to rule, then they have to focus upon the local people, and they have to bridge a gap, make a gap between them. And that point of time, the collectors, the police officers, that bureaucracy has been introduced in India, and they were given huge houses, huge offices, and you had to get through a process to reach him. So they were glorified, and they were they were given immense power to hang somebody or to shoot somebody, and a fear instilled among the peoples, so that no one can question him. So the bureaucracy has been always used in India to govern the people and to avoid direct attack on the Britishers. And same thing was done with the A.O. Hume and his Indian National Congress. Now I have a question. Now we tease all these things in our textbooks. One point of time, Gandhiji was such a huge figure. He was stalwart politician of India. He's father of the nation. Why he could not imagine that why I am joining this political party. What forced him to join that political party? And since independence, now it is 72 years, no agitation has took place to remove all these. There is many a list. I will talk about all these things, but we never had an agitation, never seen an unrest on the educational front or the wrong history and wrong philosophy being imposed upon Indian mindset, which were destroyed our culture, our living pattern, our the harmony of our lives in India and Indian culture. Now, I would like to point wise 2 3 points. I would like to like Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Bose was very much alive until 84 when he died near Gorakhpur as a Gumnami Baba. This is a fact, and the artifacts belonging to him are still there intact in a box. When Indian government claimed that Netaji has died in a plane crash in Taiwan, and Japan has confirmed it, but later when Mukherjee Commission inquired in Taiwan, then the statement of the Taiwan government was there was no plane crash took place between August 17 to 20 September 1946 in Taiwan. So in a whole week, there was no plane crash occurred in Taiwan. That means somebody else body was cremated in the name of Netaji. When Netaji came back to India, then he was forced to live as a Gumnami Baba for rest of his life, around 40 years of his life in as a monk, and he never seen anybody one to one. He used to speak from behind the curtain to everyone. The photographs of his family, the letters of his family are found in the house, the hut where he was living, and he was cremated with a secret place where the army funeral were used to take. He was buried. His funeral took place there with the full armory. That means something was there. He was very much Netaji, but why we could not reveal him and why we have not given him a proper place in the history is a question. Then Akbar and his legacy. It is a wrong perception being given to India today. Today, when we talk about Indian Muslims, they are so violent and they are so aggressive while they deal with the Hindus because their forefather actually they are not connected with the fact that those people came from Arabia, Afghanistan, Turkey, were looter, were rapist, were murderer. That's why it is not painted in our history books. They have been glorified like Akbar was Mahan, like Aurangzeb built temples. He has given donation to temple. All wrong history, wrong side of history we are standing right now. So this has taken place like the Ram Mandir, the Babri Masjid was standing over the birthplace of Bhagavan Ram. Our people, they have written books, they have written articles about it, that there was no such thing, no Ram has born in that place. Even affidavits has been given in Supreme Court by the then government of that time that Ram has not born. He's a mythical person and no real person as a Ram was ever existed. So you have discarded our history, Ramayana, which is our oldest history book. And in place of that, you have glorified Babar, a looter, and which remain a bone of contention for 500 years. And it was the biggest source of enmity between Hindu and Muslims. Had the Muslim been told the real history, had the Hindus been told the real history, So this situation might have not come in India, what we are right now having. After giving half part of the country to Pakistan in 1947, we remained the same what we were before partition. Today, we have more Muslims in India than in Pakistan and Bangladesh put together. So after even paying the huge cost, we are having same approach of Muslims. What is in Pakistan towards Hindus is same in the Kerala. You must have seen the yesterday's procession where two RSS worker, where means two Muslim youth were dressed as a RSS worker, and they were being paraded with naked swords and paraded in the city of Kerala. And some part of Kerala that has become now like ISIS governed areas. So what will happen, we don't know. The Mughal history is the most exaggerated part of our history, and in fact the history book in India is the Mughal history only, nothing else. We have books on Mughals, but we don't have pages on Vijayanagara Samarajya, which have governed from Java, Sumatra, Indonesia, Malaysia, Jakarta to the western coast for 350 years, around 12th to 15th century. There is only a para about Vijayanagara Samarajyam. There is no mention of Chols, Raja Rajeshwar. He was the huge king, biggest king. He has established huge cultural places like many huge temples and cultural places of worship. It is in South India. They have no mention. We have no mention of Gupta Samrajya. We have no mention of Vikramaditya. We have no mention of Chandragupta Maurya. We have no mention of Chanakya. In the name of history, what we have is Mughal history only. Now, when we talk about the freedom struggle, that has been most inappropriately described part of history. There is no due place given to the true freedom fighters. Like Veer Savarkar has not been placed what he should have. Shyamji Krishna Verma, who has who opened his house as an India House in London, and that was the center of all freedom activities, never has been recognized and given due credit of it. Subhash Chandra Bose was not given the due credit. Bhagat Singh was I think so. Today we talk about Bhagat Singh, but he was the most ill-treated boy. Gandhiji could have saved his life, but that would then we must have been talking about the different history today had those people been given due places.
Gopalji, I want to a little bit question you on one aspect, a little bit for the viewers' benefit. You mentioned one American professor, Audrey Truschke, and why she is called a professor of history when she is actually indulging in a propaganda. Who is emboldening her? Which are the type of people who are promoting her? And you, from your point of view, that why there is no, banning of such kind of professors in Indian context, academic circles?
Aditji, people like Andre Truschke and many more, they are having a good nexus with their counterparts in India. With the establishment of Jawaharlal Nehru University, JNU in Delhi in around 65, 67, there has been a pact between Congress and the leftist that we will govern the country. You hand over us the education system. Jawaharlal Nehru Delhi become epic center of that left ecosystem, and from there today we have so-called scholar and professors around the world in biggest name like Harvard, MIT, and Oxford. Every institute have scholars from JNU. They have a good ecosystem. and the ecosystem has good funding. What happens? They are pawn of China, the communist propaganda machines. China is highly commercial. China is no more communist country. It is a capital dictatorship country, and they are creating atmosphere in consumer rich countries like India for their benefits. So people getting paid by the propaganda machine through China, through Arabia, and they pave the ground for Indian youth to neutralize their nationalist mind, so that they can easily revolt against the system. There is no establishment of nationalism, and they can do whatever anti-national activities, breaking India activities. You must be aware that the fact they don't treat this country as a nation. They treat it as 26 nation altogether, and their motive is to break them in 26 pieces. So I don't know in a near future that dream is going to come, because today's youth is much awakened than what we were, because information technology has given them knowledge on their fingertips. The knowledge is available everywhere, any point of time. Any doubt has n number of positive question answers or facts. So there is no question of being the system, but the ecosystem. What we are talking about Andre Tischke, she is claiming about history, whereas she has never ever read Sanskrit, which is actually the real history is written in Sanskrit language. And whoever claims that, including Max Muller, they have not read Sanskrit. They are not expert in Sanskrit, so that they have derived the answer as per their convenience, as suited to their sponsors, I would say. So Andre is one of them. She never respond to real questions. She beat around things and she propagate things. The whole world knows that Aurangzeb destroyed many temples, many things he did. He committed the heinous crime. He even did not let her sisters to get married. He killed his real own brother, Dara Shikoh, who was a great scholar of Sanskrit. He has done a lot of work translated to Arabics. He has been killed, and he never let a single person grow whoever was sympathetic to the Indian value system. And she is glorifying him, that he has given her land. Land belongs to Aurangzeb. They never ruled out of Delhi. The Delhi Sultanate, the Mughal Sultanate, or the Muslim rulers, they were busy saving their Delhi. They could not get out of Delhi for governance, or they have not ruled anything. What they have ruled is through Hindu counterparts. They have had allegiance, they have alliances with them, and they were ruling that way. But they were never settled. They claim that they have built Taj Mahal. They claim that they have built Qutub Minar. They claim that Red Fort was built by them. Why they did not build it in where from they came? In the Arabia, in the Turkey, or in the Mid Asia, whatever they came from, Afghanistan or wherever, from Uzbekistan. Where are the remains of their Mughal architecture? It has been indigenous. Everything was done by our people. The design, everything is ours. They leveled it wherever they wished, because of the strength of the sword. They leveled them on their names, and they could not enslave us. The real one big part of the history, what has been not shown to us, is our sadhus. They don't need credit, but the mention is not there to disrespect or disregard their credit. The Naga sadhus, those were the biggest trouble for the Mughal emperors. The Nath sadhus, the Gorakhnath Peeth sadhus, which Yogi Adityanath ji belongs, and the Nagas, and The Sikh sadhus, which is called Nihang, all those were so mighty, so fearsome that these Muslim invaders were always fear of them. They feared the Rajputs, they feared the Marathas most, but nothing has been given credit to all of them. Shivaji had the biggest Hindu Samrajya, but no credit. Maharana Pratap defeated Akbar many times, but there is no mention. So things are being painted like this. Now, I wish if something happens and we come out on the street to save our future generations from these lies all the time. My son asked me, Papa, this has been written here. What I should write? So I used to tell him that you write it there, whatever you want marks, but this is the fact.
So the onus, like you said in earlier points, you said that the onus of correcting these Western fake historians and who are, they don't talk about their own history. I mean, America is the world's worst human rights abuser in the world. America is the only country which used nerve gas in Oklahoma on their own citizens after World War II. And they are the only country which used nuclear weapons on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Nobody has done it. And against their own people, American government has done so many things. And these academics are somehow respected by the left ecosystem of India. I won't even say left. I would say communist ecosystem of India, because leftists can be good also, because in terms of they can keep the governments in honesty. But in Indian terms, the left means actually the communists.
Right.
So when we talk about this communist ecosystem of India and these Western professors giving a narrative, telling Indians their own history without even understanding the local dialects, local languages, and without even getting into it. And so it's more like a propaganda, because they get money from people to speak on it. So is there any way that the Indian government can put a sanction on these professors, like a sanction on the universities where they work?
See, this is the biggest pity in India. Two things cannot be done right now with the present set of law. One is appointment of the judges. That is the biggest corruption. And second is the recruitment of teachers in the universities and colleges. Once they are recruited, they are there for their life. So this must have been given a second thought, and I suppose the government is working on this, and there will be some regulatory changes will come in near future. One thing I would like to mention here, with the problem with the leftist, they will tell you half truth. Like they say that there was sati pratha. They will tell that this is Hinduism Hindutva has, Hindu society has the sati pratha. For the English speaking people, I would like to clarify, the sati means while your husband expires, then you also get burned with the body of your husband. So it was because of saving their character, saving their shield from the invaders, from the Muslim, being enslaved in their harams. To avoid that, at that point of time, our females used to sacrifice their lives with their husband on their funeral bed. But why it has happened, it is not been mentioned. Nowhere mentioned that because of the Muslim invaders, the Indian females adopted this sati pratha. Second is the ghungat. The ghungat is also came, the veil that has came from that point of time, that period only. But we never talk. The leftists never talk about the evils of Islam, the evils of Christianity. They never talk about veil of the burqa clad Muslim females. They say that it is matter of their faith. While Hindu woman, if she is putting some veil out of respect to her elders, then it is regressive. But if a Muslim lady, she's head to toe covered with a uh, uh, this thing tambu, then she's not questioned. It is out of her faith. That is the distinction today's youth has understood from these so-called historians, so-called open society people, so-called secular people, so-called intellectual peoples. They are now being exposed with the kind of things that are happening with Greta Thunberg or Mia Khalifa type of people. These all are being exposed every day, and that will benefit our youth at large, I think.
You know, very very well put it. So there is a need for that, urgent need for that. So most of the people who are watching it live, this is we are trying to emphasize that the why Indians are the why the Western academics who have no understanding of India talking about Indian history. Number one, the colonial side of the, or on the Western side, the colonial, the they are the ones who gave the narrative to Indian history, distorting it to remove the identity of the local, of the natives of India, because India is still a native country. It's all indigenous, and it's the Indians who moved to the West, and it's RA invasion theory has been debunked
Yes.
conclusively by everybody. Now, the next point which also brings to the mind is the conspiracy behind everything. Now, the biggest conspiracy is now coming is in the big tech. So, big tech is being called the big colonizer. So, what is your view on that? Because they are all these Western, all the Audrey Trushke and all these people are the old mindset people, the British colonialists, because they are there to spread rumors and bad information. They're the Max Muller and Macaulay's agents. So what about the big tech? Because big tech is in big way encouraging these type of people.
I would remind you one thing, Aditi ji. You know about the Khilafat movement. The exact meaning of Khilafat, if you ask any ordinary Indian today, they will say that Gandhiji have started this movement of non cooperation movement. Asahayog Andolan is being painted as, means that Khilafat Andolan was painted as Asahayog Andolan, and Gandhiji let it happen deliberately. He never clarified that this movement is about the Khalifa of Turkey. This was the biggest thing what he blundered, according to me, because uh, the people understood the movement, the Hindus at last. The Hindus understood that movement as a Khilafat movement, means that was against the Britisher, not with the Khalifa of Turkey. So today also the word Khilafat means you are doing Khilafat means you are in a non-agreement with somebody and you are against or dissenting on some issues with the people. So this kind of narrative has been put on our mindset since ages. And today the Twitter, New York Times, the Washington Post, the social media, means Facebook, everywhere they are being shielded. They have been given full-fledged access to all the big things, and they are glorified over the night and being made stars out of them. Recently, you might have gone through that Greta Thunberg and that Indian two girls, the 21-year-old Ravi, Disha Ravi. So every time the leftists feel that they should create some new faces, they do such kind of things, and people in their ecosystem from across the globe via the social media, they make a huge bang with them and populate them, popularize them, glorify them. At the same time, one person, his name is Dinesh, and he is out of Hyderabad. He runs a string channel, the string reveals, and his videos are based upon facts, real facts. While he accused all this ecosystem, he tracked down all this Greta Thunberg story and exposed is through that Dhruv Rathi guy. the video was taken within 1 hour of time, and it was removed from YouTube. Can you the leftists, the communists are having free run. Their handles are being verified overnight. Remember this Kisan Andolan, the Ticket guy, Rakesh Ticket, he fought 2-3 election where he could not save his guarantee money. He is a discarded politician. Even the people of his village do not stand with his words. Now he has been given full access to the media. He has been given more weightage, more time, screen time, more articles than the government's good work or good news. So this is the ecosystem working out of Washington, out of New York, out of UK, Al Jazeera, and Reuters, BBC. All these are doing this kind of thing. What they do, the people, they recruit those journalists which has been discarded and removed from their jobs in India. Now they are settled with the foreign publications, and they are running the propaganda from there. People running those news houses or media houses might be knowing this, and this might be their source of income. Now Indian government means Indian investigative agencies are behind them, and definitely within a short period of time they'll be exposed. Their money trail will be exposed, and I guess we don't have any. See, Aditi, we don't have any problem with them. You, as you rightly said, you examine your history. You could not give voting rights to your females until 1965, America. You could not give voting rights to black people until 65. And you tell us, you talk, give us lectures on democracy and the life pattern, which is, see, one more thing I would like to add. Somebody has given me a reply on Twitter yesterday when the burqa-clad women were praising the burqa. I posted a video. Then somebody has said that Hinduism can even. I written it there that they are progressing, and the future is 7th century. So somebody has written that Hinduism might take us even before that. So I replied him, those were more open societies, where our females were running the businesses, where our female used to rule the countries, where our females were free to choose their husband. You remember Sitaji Swayamvar? She has put one condition: whoever breaks this bow will only marry me, or I will marry to such person who will break this arrow. You remember Vidyotama and Kalidas? Vidyotama has challenged that whoever will become victorious with the Shastras, with the debate with me, will be my husband. So this kind of freedom enjoyed by our females in ancient times, in the Vedic times. So that was more open society, and we were more happier peoples. The kind of imposition we are having today, our females were always there. See, America is celebrating its first female vice president, whereas we had our prime minister in 60s. The premier of the country is in 60s. Many state heads, the president of India, female president of India, chief justice, female chief justice of India, and many more, what not. And they still tell us the patriarchal, Brahminical society. Remember?
Yes.
So this is the propaganda being done, and it will come to an positive end, I hope. I'm very much hopeful. And our people at the leadership, at the helm right now, are more visionary than them. And we will definitely catch them by their neck, and things will be normalized, I hope.
See, the entire Western propaganda about the first world countries and I would say the first world looter countries and the first world economies, all this thing is smashed after this COVID-19, extremely smashed. The word caste itself has smashed because in San Diego Black History Month, they used lower caste for Americans. So the caste is a Portuguese word that has also been smashed. The third thing is now the remaining is these academics, which are the biggest source of propaganda machinery today, because the media doesn't have the intellectual ability. And the mediocrity today is celebrated as intellectualism in North America today, which is very sad. And I really want American academics who are listening right now to actually work on improving the standards of academics. And again, uh, you know, they have to match, and they have stolen so much from India. Now they have to now do justice by being honest. And then not all of them are bad, but there are some of them bad. There's some of the academics are really good. So thank you all for watching. And Gopalji, as usual, very enlightening conversation.
Thank you very
So keep
much.
watching
Thank
and
you
do
for
comment on
hearing me.
YouTube. Yes, you're saying something? Yes.
Thanks for being a patient audience.
So
Thank
do
you for
comment on
bearing.
the YouTube videos and send your questions to me. And in the next show, I'm going to ask him again. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar.